Hey guys, so I'm going to walk you through our newest configurator. This is for our customizable Fender Eliminator kit. We've been offering a Fender Eliminator kit for a long time, but this one we're calling our fully customizable because we are offering a ton more products kind of all as one kit. This is complete configuration of your rear fender. If you look at some of the photos, we put a few setups that we've had customers do here in the past with parts that we have here at the shop. It kind of gives you an idea of what it can look like depending on what you choose to do. Here we've got a lay down license plate with our Fender Eliminator strip, which there's a few different photos of that setup you'll see. Also, we've got one with side signals in addition. We've got our Fender Eliminator strip with a lay-down plate with bolt lights instead of a illuminated frame. We've also got the 310 parts side mount plate here with nothing on the rear there, so the rear fender's been removed, the plastic fender portion. So all this is completely customizable, and we do all of this completely plug and play. So every part that you would order, if it needs a Y splitter or it needs extra wiring service that we would do here, or some connectors attached to it, or some sort of modification or change, then we add all that before we ship it out to you. You will be charged for it when you configure it on the configurator. It'll break it all down. It'll show you what you're paying for, and it just makes it super simple. You can basically buy what you want, configure it the way you want it to look, and when you get it, it's all plug and play setup. So this kind of explains all that here in the description. To get started, you just click configure. Once you click configure, you'll be presented with what looks to be basically the stock bolt with the stock setup on the rear. You got that plastic fender. You've got your side mount signals. First thing you can do is configure your signals. You can either do your OEM signals or you can do no signals on the side. If you do the OEM signals, we have a lot of options for aftermarket bulb replacements as well as lenses. So I'll go ahead and select that for now so I can kind of show you those options as well. Under signal bulbs, which will appear after you choose OEM signals, you can choose to just keep it as is, or you could maybe use our Radiance Dog Eye LED clusters, which we really like here. The Dog Eyes are very cool in that they have a amber outer ring and then a red center. The red center is dual function. It operates as both a running and a brake light. You will need a couple things such as a tail light Y splitter and our wiring service for the Dog Eyes. Our wiring service for the Dog Eye basically adds all the necessary OEM connectors to these clusters and extends the wires where necessary. We offer some instructions with it on how to modify that housing in the signals to put those LED clusters in them. It's a fairly straightforward install, but that's basically how that works. So you'll also see down here, if you go further, that we've got our amber clusters as a dual function as well as a single function, and our red clusters as a dual and single function. So depending on what you want to do, you may want to choose something else. We've got our signal lenses. If you wanted to smoke out your lenses, you could get the custom dynamic smoke lenses to go on there. You could also choose maybe the red or orange lenses. If you do go with a different color lens, DOT rules does dictate that the lens color has to match across the entire back for your signals. So if you've got orange signals, then all your signals throughout have to be orange. If you've got red signals, then everything's got to be red. If you use a smoked or clear lens, obviously whatever bulb color is inside is going to shine through. So you kind of have to think about that while you're doing this whole setup. Moving on to brake light. With the brake light, you can choose to get rid of it. You can also just choose to keep it. If you do get rid of it, of course, you're going to have to deal with that hole. We have a few plate mount solutions that would cover that hole, or I should say we have a plate mount solution that covers the hole. We also have you could also just do a sticker on it. A lot of guys do stickers. One of our fabricators who we work with as well, he makes how should I say, a kind of cover for it that you can put patches on. We've been looking at maybe starting to supply those as well. If we do, we'll add them in this configurator. So the next thing we'll look at is our plate mount. So for right now, I've got everything still pretty much stock set up. I'm not sure. I think the only thing I've got is the smoked lenses. So on the plate mount, the options we have are Thunderhouse Moto's Eliminator plate mount, which gets rid of that whole plastic garbage at the rear and puts a plate mount under the back. The plate mount by default is very clean. It doesn't have any real illumination, so we'll get to that later. You could also do the same Eliminator plate mount with some tabs on the side that would allow you to mount your stock signals on it. Doing this will move those stock signals further back and allow you more space for cases on the side, which is great. This is very similar to the Yamaha aftermarket parts Eliminator kit. It's very similar to that, but it's a lot cleaner and more inexpensive. The Eliminator kit from Yamaha is super expensive. It's like over $100, I believe. We also have our Custom Dynamics radius laydown plate, which we've been selling for a while. This one comes with an adapter. The adapter allows you to mount it on that taillight hole. Very clean setup. Then we have the Thunderhouse Moto side mount plate. This side mount plate, this is going to mount on the fender stays just behind the left shock. It's a really great looking setup. Of course, if you do this setup, you might want to reduce the size or change out those signals. And then we also have Thunderhouse Moto's same plate, but with a bracket at the top to mount your OEM taillight on. He also offers that same bracket with no holes drilled in it. If you get that, then you could drill holes and put any taillight that you wanted on it. So if you had a different taillight you wanted to mount there, you could definitely do that. And then of course we've got 310 parts lower shock mount plate. So this one mounts on that bottom bolt on the shocks. We've had that for a long time. It's a great option. And then if you just don't really need a plate mount, you could choose that you've got your own solution. For now, what I'm going to choose just for demonstration, I think, is the Thunderhouse Moto Eliminator plate mount. That way we can kind of configure it and see how this all works. So we get down here to the next option is actually the Fender Eliminator strip. We do offer our Fender Eliminator strip if that's something you wanted. So if you choose yes, then it's going to show you what that looks like. It's going to show you any splitters and other things that you need. You will need our Fleeks module, and you will also need you're also going to need our Fender Eliminator wiring. So the Fleeks module and then the wiring are there. And then the Y splitter is for your signal lines, because you've only got one signal line, or a set of signal lines back there, but you buy our Y splitter, you can split it off for the Fender Eliminator as well. So if you got rid of your signals, then you would see that automatically, once you get rid of them, that Y splitter gets removed from this product. So you see how that works. It kind of lets you configure everything and automatically add all the items that you will need. So we'll leave that on for now. The next option is going to be plate illumination. You're going to want to configure some sort of illumination really for that plate. Otherwise, you're not DOT compliant. You could do our radiance plate, which is just illumination from the top. Custom Dynamics also has one, which is a little slimmer looking. That's why it's a little more expensive. The Custom Dynamics, they also offer a few other solutions, which we'll look at, but you could also do just a set of bolt lights or two sets of bolt lights, so one at each corner. We really suggest if you get bolt lights that you do one at each corner, because the illumination isn't super great with the Solo. We kind of tried to mimic that with a little darkness there, but you can see how it's a little bit brighter with the four bolt lights. The next thing we've got is a few different plate lights. So this one has illumination from the top and then has a brake bar at the bottom. So the brake bar is a running and a brake bar. Then there's the tri-plate, which we can wire a few different ways. We can wire it as a running and brake only, or we can wire it as a running, brake, and signal line, depending on how you choose it. And then, of course, our quad plate from Custom Dynamics. The quad plate has amber signals on the side, which would match this whole setup, as well as a brake bar at the bottom. Legally, if you had chosen running, brake, and signals here, this would not be compliant with most states' laws, because you've got red signals on the side of this plate, as well as red brakes on the side of this plate, and then you've got an amber signals on your LED strip and amber on the signals on the side. So this wouldn't actually be a legal setup. If you wanted the Fender Eliminator strip to be all red, we can actually do that. It's a little custom order, but you could just note that on checkout. We can do that as well. But if you were going to do this setup, probably the quad plate would be the best setup. As you can see, we've racked up quite a bit of money here, because we've got basically 3 lighting setups on here with all the splitters that are required. So, and if you notice, we did get our brake light removed at one point because we chose the lay down plate and it removed it. But I could put it back, and then you can see kind of we're up to 666. So the tail light line tri-splitter, so we've actually got a splitter that'll split to 3 different ways. So this would go one to the plate, one to the Fender Eliminator, and then one to the OEM tail light. And then you see there's a tri-splitter pair for the signals as well. So you can see we've actually got 3 sets of signals there. So that's why this is so high, is we got a lot of different items all configured on this bike. So that kind of gives you an idea how all this works. As you can see, we also have a section called add-ons. If you get our Fender Eliminator strip, it does require that you run a rear plastic sub fender, but you actually chop it down to mount the Fender Eliminator strip on it. So we're glad to sell you one at just the standard OEM pricing from Yamaha. That is $1749 as of today. And then we've also got the OEM rear sub harness. If you have previously done a bunch of work on the rear and maybe you chopped off connectors, or somebody else did it before you bought the bike, then you're going to need a repaired sub harness. And of course we offer the Yamaha one for the standard Yamaha price there. And then for the front, we actually offer some LED clusters, which you could add on here if you wanted. The LED clusters for the front, they're called halos. With halos, basically what they look like is they have a yellow outer ring and then a white center running ring, and these would retrofit into the front signal housing. They look great. They're actually very cool looking lenses or clusters. And then of course our flasher relay modification, which is your OEM relay that we modify with a resistor, a little diode that we put in there, and that makes it so that all this LED setup doesn't get hyper flash. Highly suggested. You don't really want hyper flash. It makes the life of your LEDs shorter. It also is not DOT compliant, so best that you go ahead and do it. Although it's $79.89 For a refurbished one, we do offer a core. We charge a core within that $79.89. So if you send back your original unit, then it's discounted after that. So we will buy your original back from you. Same with the new one. Yamaha, they upped their price on this guy a while back, so we have to sell these at $159 at this point, including the core. So again, you can send back your original for a core refund. So that kind of gives you an idea of all that, and that's pretty much the whole wizard. You know, like I said, we can always go back and we can change things. So say you decide you want to do the laydown plate now, you know, it'll change all the pricing. As you see, we dropped quite a bit in price by changing to that guy instead of having two setups there. And then you choose your plate elimination, of course, because it's a little different for this, but you know, you could do the tri-plate there. That's not legal, so maybe the quad plate instead would be a more legal option. So thanks, guys. I hope you like all the work we did. That it was a lot of work to get this to be, you know, super user friendly for you guys to figure out everything and add it to your cart. Oh yeah, let's add it to our cart. So once you add it to your cart, you'll see all of those selections get added in here, and you can kind of see everything laid out. If you do decide you wanted to change something, you could click edit configuration here. You'll open the wizard again, and you'll be able to adjust it